It always starts small. A whisper, a glance, a little white lie told in a dimly lit room, and suddenly lives are shifting like sand under a rising tide. Sex and lies, two of the oldest tools in human history. Separately, they can shatter marriages, reputations, and friendships, but together, they can become a loaded gun just waiting for someone to pull the trigger. People think murder comes out of nowhere, that it's the act of monsters, but the truth, it usually starts with something as simple as desire and deception. She told him she loved him. He believed her. She told him he was the only one. He wasn't. And when the truth came out, because it always comes out, he couldn't breathe, couldn't eat, or couldn't think straight. His pride was bruised, his heart was shattered, and his mind twisted. See, when someone feels played, when they feel used, especially by someone they gave their body to, they don't just get angry, they become dangerous. That's the thing about lies. They don't just destroy trust, they ignite obsession, and obsession doesn't go away quietly. It festers. The sex may be over, but the lie, that lingers like gasoline on the floor waiting for the spark. And when it comes, it doesn't just burn love, it burns everything. Tonight's story isn't about two lovers. It's about one lie. One forbidden moment between the sheets and one cold body on the floor. Because when truth is twisted and lust becomes leverage, what's left behind isn't just heartbreak, it's blood. This is the tale of a lie that went too far. A night that started with seduction and ended in murder. In the eyes of the law, you're innocent until proven guilty. But what if the only thing you're guilty of is sharing a last name? This is the story of Terry Minor, a young man with a clean record, a promising future, and a name that would become a death sentence. Falsely accused, wrongfully imprisoned, forgotten by the justice system. And when the truth finally surfaced, it was too late to undo the damage because by then the blood had already been spilled. You're watching The Guardian File, and this is a true crime tragedy that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about child support, false accusations, and the law that failed to protect the innocent. Daytona Beach, Florida, home of sun, surf, and a dark story no tourist guide would dare mention. 15-year-old Chantel Beasley wasn't your average teenager. With a home in disarray and a mother confined to a wheelchair, supervision was scarce and rebellion was routine. Her house became the neighborhood clubhouse, a place where teens and grown men alike came to party, drink, and vanish into back bedrooms. Chantel wasn't shy. She was bold, reckless, and seductive. Her sexuality wasn't a secret. It was currency. And among her frequent visitors was a man who would ignite a firestorm of destruction, Earl Minor, 25 years old, a college student at Bethune-Cookman. But Earl Minor's extracurricular activities didn't include sports or student government. He spent his free time lurking around high school parking lots, searching for girls too young to legally say yes. And when he found Chantel, he saw opportunity. She was young, naive, unprotected. Their relationship was anything but love. It was exploitation masked in manipulation. And even as Earl warned her to keep things quiet, the damage was already growing inside her. When Chantel discovered she was pregnant, her world imploded. She was just 15. Earl, faced with a felony and a future in prison, denied everything. That baby ain't mine, he said. He didn't want proof. He wanted distance. Alone, abandoned, and desperate, Chantel turned to the one system designed to help struggling mothers, state assistance. Chantel applied for WIC, food stamps, and housing aid. But that support came with a catch: name the father or lose it all. The caseworker's instructions were chillingly clear. Any man's name would do. Chantel began listing men she'd been with, one by one, hoping a DNA match would buy her more time. But test after test came back negative, and soon the list was empty, except for one last name. Earl begged Chantel not to tell the truth. If the state found out, he'd be locked up for statutory rape. So they made a deal, one that would destroy a man's life. Earl suggested a name. His brothers. Terry Minor, a student, a stranger to Chantel, a scapegoat. Terry had never met this girl, but the state didn't care. One day, Terry was in class. The next, he was being yanked out of school by armed officers. You're under arrest for failure to pay child support and statutory rape. Confused, speechless, terrified. Terry thought it was a mistake, a mix-up. But the system wasn't listening. Earl denied everything. Chantel stayed silent. And Terry was thrown into Volusia County Jail alone, betrayed, and forgotten. Days turned into months, months into years. 3 long years passed in a cell. Terry missed birthdays, funerals, and even a few job offers. His court-assigned attorney never called. The child support debt ballooned to $30,000. He hadn't just lost his freedom. He was losing hope. Until one day, a letter changed everything. Terry's college friend reached out to a lawyer, a real one. He requested a DNA test. The results were undeniable and obvious. Terry wasn't the father. He never had been. But there would be no apology. The court refused to charge Chantel. No way to prove she knowingly lied. They said Terry was free. But freedom didn't feel like justice. It felt like rage. Terry bought a gun and he tracked Chantel down. When she opened the door, he didn't yell. He asked one question. Why? Trembling, Chantel confessed. It was all Earl's idea. Terry snapped. In a moment of fury, one shot rang out. Then, silence. Chantel fell to the floor. But Terry wasn't done. He drove to Earl's apartment, kicked in the door, and came face to face with the brother who betrayed him. Earl begged, even cried. But mercy was a luxury Terry no longer had. Gunshots rang out, 5, 6, maybe even more. Neighbors called 911. Police stormed the building. Terry stood over Earl's body, gun in hand, and his eyes blank. Dropped the weapon. They shouted. He didn't. They opened fire. Terry died instantly. A man who never fathered a child, killed by a lie he never told. The story of Terry Minor is more than a tragedy. It's a warning. A system meant to protect became the weapon that destroyed. No oversight, no accountability, no justice. Just a name, a lie, and a life taken too soon. This is the Guardian File. And the truth is always darker than fiction. Make sure you click on that subscribe button. Also click that like button. And if you actually enjoyed this video, or even if you're just feeling generous, please don't hesitate to share. It'll be greatly appreciated.